Hi there, and welcome back to another week in Rugby League. It is the Rugby League Report. Thank you for joining us wherever you are joining us from, whether that's the Red Star app, the CKM Red Facebook pages, or alternatively the YouTube channel as well. We're live on there. Join in the conversation, get involved, let us know your thoughts and opinions on some of the topics. Of course, as per usual, I've got my better-looking Southern Hemisphere counterpart to join me to take me through all these games. Luke, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, very good, mate. Talk about I think a busy last week in rugby league. I think is an understatement there, mate. We've got a crap ton to get through, and I'm freezing my absolute butt off down here in Sydney. So I reckon we can get rolling.
Oh no, absolutely, mate. And I think we jump straight into the first topic. Then it is the Serbian Rugby League wrap-up. Wins for New Belgrade, Red Star, and Partizan. Of course, New Belgrade being Novi Beograd. We'll jump straight into that first game. Novi Beograd versus Radnički Niš. How about let's talk about a war? I mean, I don't think many people tipped Novi Beograd to come in and win that game, especially with the season splitting now. Novi Beograd dropping down into the second division, Radnički Niš, because Dortmund got beat, holding on to that fourth spot and staying up. But Novi Beograd, they were the better side for a large part of that game.
Yeah, they were quite surprising. They came out firing, Novi Beograd. Radnički Niš were their own worst enemy at times. They had plenty of attacking opportunity, but they just weren't able to hold the ball. They weren't able to get some structure going. And the chances that Novi Beograd had, they took it, and all credit to them, because that's becoming a very big game in terms of the structure of the Serbian Rugby League competition and the split that happens, I think, after this weekend. So
it is this weekend. For those of you that are unaware with how the Serbian division works, it's the first division is 6 teams for half a season, and then the top 4 progress to the championship and playoff rounds. The bottom 2 drop down to the second division and play for the Division 2 Cup, basically. So Radnički Niš, they're going into that top 4. They've earned a top 4 spot because they've got wins against Dortmund this season in a close game there. But it's got to be said, it could have been touch and go, especially with how Red Star and Dortmund went on. We'll get onto that game in just a minute. But, credit to Novi Beograd. They've upped their standard, and you've got to say that the standard of their gameplay has increased in correlation with the fact that, the fact that they've got those Turkish nationals come in as well, and they've brought on a lot of experience with them. It's great to see there's a lot of diversity in this league now, and Novi Beograd are benefiting very heavily from it.
Yeah, very much so. I think they're up 20-6 at one point, Novi Beograd, and the try to get them up that far was, I think it was one of the Turkish props. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name because I know I'm going to butcher it, and I don't want to butcher it. But he's chased a kick downfield, forced an error, picked it up, and just flicked it left. And as a result, they've gone in the left corner and extended out to a lead that in the end proved to be unassailable. And as they go through, and I think like you said, we'll go into Red Star and Dortmund in a minute, but that's a team that has a win against Dortmund, and if they can play like how they did against Dortmund and against Radnički Niš, when they come up against Partizan, when they come up against Red Star, I'm not saying that they're going to cause an upset, but there's an opportunity that they'll throw both teams off their game, and we won't see the blowouts that we have earlier in the year. These games will be a lot tighter as we go into the second half of the year.
Yeah, and we'll get on to Red Star versus Dortmund now, and we'll wrap up with Partizan taking on the South region out in Montenegro. But Red Star, that was not a game that many people anticipated being that close. I was speaking with Dennis Chengai here on the page just hours before the game, And, he was fairly confident of a win. We both tipped that Red Star would score about 50 points, Dortchel would score about 16. Dortchel really drew them into the arm wrestle, took Red Star into deep water, and forced some of those younger players to really step up and find their feet in this division.
Yeah, they took a page out of the Partizan textbook of how to beat Red Star, and they played expansive football. It's plain and simple. Yeah, yes, Red Star had a lot of young guys coming through, potentially giving some of the older guys a bit of an early mark with this first half of the season. But Dortchel really took it to Red Star. It was an 8-point game in the end. It got to a point where I think it was 16-6 in favour of Red Star. They look to have the upper hand. Fergus Simpson looks like he's really starting to gel with this Red Star side, but Dortchel clawed back. Like you said, they got into an arm wrestle. It was a brutal game, a very physical game. Dortchel forced Red Star to make errors. They forced them out of their comfort zone, and they played expansive football. And as a result, while they didn't get the result that they would have wanted, Dortchel can hold their heads up high and say, we've taken a team that has thumped us on every single occasion and taken them down to the wire. They've taken them the full 80. It was a fantastic clash, and I think a great advertisement for Serbian Rugby League that it's now not just Partizan and Red Star. Dortchel are coming up. Novi Beograd are coming up. Radnički Nice, they're going to be in that top division in the second half of the year, and they're going to be there and thereabouts, and they're still growing as a club and they're still improving. It's a great advertisement for the sport in Serbia that a club like Dortchel, who has a couple of former Red Star players, can now take it to what has been the dominant club for many years.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's got to be said as well that Red Star did use a lot of their younger players. I was talking to Siler just a couple of minutes ago before we came on, and he said that they took that opportunity to rest some of the senior players and really bring some of the younger players in. Marko Jedvić, Miroslav Selimovski, Nikola Modernovic, all got good minutes. They're not players who have particularly used to big minutes. Even Marko Shatev got a decent run out in the forwards. And Siler very candidly said to me, he said, when you were in that game, you didn't realise how close it was. And he says he came off at the end and looked at the scoreboard, and it was a little bit of a, oh God, okay, that was closer than we expected. But credit to Dortchel. They're there or thereabouts in the conversation. They've got good players, Nikša Unković, Stefan Nikolic, Velibor Strečković. The guys that they've got there's plenty of talent, and Dortchel will come good. Dortchel will come good over time. And, the Simovic brothers as well, punching holes up the middle, as well as Stefan Vukanovic. Stefan Vukanovic, every time he touched the ball, looked like he was going to break the line. He was deadly when coming onto the ball at speed. But no, we will come off that topic there, and we'll jump into Partizan versus the South region. Obviously, a little bit of a blowout in that one, to be expected. Partizan are quickly becoming the premier team in the Serbian competition right now, and teams are trying to keep up with them, and they showed their dominance there. I think it was 78-8 the final score, but I think the big headline out of that game was the scenes at the very end. Partizan took about 200 fans in total to the stadium. Flares, atmosphere, team songs. It's fantastic. That clip is getting shared around like wildfire right now. It's going around all over the place, and it's real testament to the work that's being done in Serbia right now to get the profile of the game up, and for that game to be happening out in Montenegro, and for the Partizan fans to be there as well. Spectacular scenes.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I saw the video probably about an hour ago of the Partizan team after the game with their fans in the far corner, jumping around, singing the team song. Yeah. Obviously, it doesn't have the same atmosphere as that of an Eels Panthers game or a St. Helens Leeds game or something like that. But in the middle of a pandemic that is hitting Europe really hard at the moment, they are, the fact that they had fans there, and credit to South Region as well. Yeah, I mean, it sucks that they're getting pumped every week. There's no two way to put it. But that's a team that also, for the first time this year, had what was it, 8 Albanian players in their side. They were able to bolster their stocks a little bit. Yeah, I think it was 72 to 8 or 78 to 8 at the end of it. But this is a team that will improve in time. This is a team that will gain some structure. They play on quite a nice field in what looked to be a pretty nice backdrop, in a nice area. They're going to get support. They're going to get fans coming in. There's going to be players that are curious about the sport in Montenegro because of the South Region team. And it's good for them. It feels weird to say that it's good for them to get pumped by 60-plus points against Partizan team, but they know, and the thing that they'll come across this year is they know what the benchmark is. They know what they have to go and look and scout for when it comes to plays. They know what they have to try to do to beat these teams and to perform for 80 minutes against these teams. So, they'll be able to go to the second division this year and potentially, go for a second division title and strengthen their side, gain some more structure, crucially get some experience, and then come back next year and hopefully we'll see the progression of the South Region like we have with Radnički, with Novi Beograd, with Dorčul, and you'll see that improvement and that competitiveness as we punch into 2021-22 and further seasons down the road. But yeah, the scenes, how good.
Oh, mate, it's great to see, and you know what? I agree. The South Region, they'll come good eventually. Like they've got a depth of talent. The problem that they have at the minute is a lot of their players are players that have come across from Union and are still finding their feet in league, still working on the play of the ball and the tackle technique. Securing the ball, making sure that an offload isn't available, because Partizan love a good offload. You get some of their big boys rumbling forward. They'll get the arm free. You saw it multiple occasions in that game. Just pop the arm out and the ball's away and you're on a second phase play and it's just trying to shut that down. But yeah, the South Region, it'll be great to see them back next year. I think they're going to go from strength to strength as well. But, congratulations to Partizan finishing top for the first half of the season. Where, you'll have to stick around to see whether they can carry that on. But we'll move off the European continent and onto a slightly larger continent right now. And the NARL, the big news that we all woke up to, probably, I think it was Monday night, might have been Tuesday. The NARL's West Division will not be going ahead this year. They've assured that the Eastern Conference is still going ahead. I've not heard anything on the Canadian competition yet, but right now, as things stand, the West Division's not going ahead. The problem that they've got there is that the high-level insurance that they needed due to COVID, basically, they weren't able to secure it. The amount that was asked was too high for the budget there, and they weren't able to come to an agreement over that. And it means that right now that West Division can't continue, but the East Division will still be there. So I believe teams San Francisco, San Diego, Portland, Las Vegas, and I believe there's one or two more who won't be competing. Austin. Yep, Austin Armadillos as well. Are quickly becoming a fan favourite, that one. And I believe there might be one more team in there that we may have missed. But no, the Eastern Conference. Sorry?
Vegas, the Blackjacks.
Yeah, the Blackjacks. We've gone through the Blackjacks, but the Eastern Conference is still going ahead. So you're still going to see teams like Brooklyn, like Boston, New York, Atlanta, all going head to head, as well as the question marks that are currently around the Canadian competition. But as things currently stand, the Canadian Conference is still going ahead as far as any of us are aware. But it's sad news to have lost the Western Division, in its infancy there. But how good is it that we've even got a competition out there ready to go at all?
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I feel like, and it's gone around the rumor mill that part of it was because they were all going to be playing at the same location, all kind of housed in the same area, that there was the issue that if one got COVID, it would spread to everyone else, and enter that butterfly effect. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm knocking on the wooden desk I've got set up at the moment, but hopefully, all's well that ends well. And if anything, if there is a positive to take out of the West Division having to pull out, it's they can, as a team and as sides, they can set themselves up. It's essentially another 12 months they get to market. For those that were ready to follow that West Division and that had teams, yes, it makes them wait, but it builds the anticipation for the 2022 season. It does mean that the teams can go out, find ways to potentially increase their budget, do some more marketing, get some more merch, knuckle down and work on a structure, a playing structure, work on, refining their skills to adapt to any new rules that might come in at the end of the season. There is a light at the end of the tunnel there. But, like you said, Matty, we can't gloss over the fact we still have 6 teams. We've got the USARL 3 that was mentioned in the Athletes Hub post that we flicked out a week ago, with Boston, Atlanta, and Brooklyn. They're all looking to prove that they made the right decision, essentially, that they are, in the right competition. And then you have Cleveland, your marketing juggernaut, your Monty Gaddis and the boys out there. They have a target on their back because, for the most part, prior to the announcement of the competition, it was them and California Rugby League that was promoting the sport in North America. When Ottawa pushed back a year, when Toronto was cut out of the Super League, it was Cleveland and California Rugby League that were bringing light to the sport in North America. So Cleveland have that one on their back. You've got the New York team that, they've got Mark Offerdale, who's an absolute gun, shot to stardom in the 2013 World Cup. So, they've got the players to make that impact. And I know I'm missing one other team here. I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, it's escaping me as well, but I know I agree, mate. I think the Western Conference, it's good that they get an entire year now. Just what people need to understand is that while these players will not be playing, they definitely will not have stopped training. Like, they are committed for 2022, which means that they get an entire year of keeping bodies fresh. You're not going to pull up. You're not going to get any injuries coming out. You're just going to get teams coming out and really hitting the ground running and making sure that they are freshest and at their best and ready to go and they're most prepared. We just got a comment here from Nedelko Sensor, Pozdravia iz Slovenia. So I was just saying hello from Slovenia there. Hello to you. Let us know where you're watching from. We love to hear your thoughts on things and obviously where you guys are in the world as well. So, coming back to the States and the West Division, the guys will still be training. The guys will still be hitting the bags and still working hard and getting those little things right that, if you were watching it in its first year, maybe you'd see a few of those little errors, players that are making the move across from basketball and football and track and field events to making the play up and stepping up to becoming NARL stars, and now you'll see that. And one of the teams has just come back to me as well. Washington, they've been heavy on their recruitment as well. They've just finished their combine. They've got their roster as good as locked in at the minute. So I think that Washington, you got Ryan Burrows. He's just linked up with his brother as well. So you got 2 Burrows to deal with there at Washington. DC Cavalry, they're going to go good. You've got a heap of talent. You've got so much talent emerging out there. And as this grows and as teams get better and recruit smarter and build off this platform that they've been laid, this competition is going to explode. And there was rumours. Well, initially 2025 Rugby League World Cup was meant to be held stateside, but there was a worry off the back of the Denver game where between England and New Zealand, where only I think they got 20,000 for it, that maybe they couldn't get the pull for those numbers. Come 2025, if this competition is the success that it's looking like it's going to be, what's to stop the World Cup heading back out there? What's to stop that play? What's to stop building that fan base where you're getting a few thousand at games and it builds up and it works out like that, and you end up getting that sturdy fan base you can rely on?
The one issue that remains with this competition, and it's not an issue that I think is anyone's fault or can be controlled at the moment, but it's the fact that the NRL isn't the kind of official competition of the US ARL and the US Rugby League Federation, which is recognised by the International Rugby League Federation. So, there are talks, and that, there has been a little bit of back and forth. We saw at the it might have been the DC. No, the Atlanta Combine.
It was the Atlanta one.
We saw some USARL officials. We saw Daniel Vito, who's now in the WWE. He made the trip up from Orlando to pop a visit at the trial. So it's good to see some former NRL guys get in on the action. And as we know, we saw Penrith team up with Cleveland for a partnership there. But if they can work around that, and going back to the Western Division really quickly, that gives them a year to target collegiate football players who are done with college, who or aren't looking at grad school and will be in these areas. They can now target them and say, hey, train up for a year. We have this tiered contract scheme. If this is something that you're interested in, let's maybe get this going. These Western teams, they've got Lanceho hired, don't they?
Yeah, you've got a ton of NRL talent. You've got Glenn Morrison, who's out there working with Cleveland. You've got Peter Godinay, who's going to be playing out of Atlanta. Rory Humphreys just recruited by New York, I believe it was, that he's ended up at. Like as you mentioned, Daniel Vito's about the scene as well. Strictly promotional at the minute. I doubt he's going to be playing, but having those influences around is going to be absolutely key. So, it's great to see that game is developing, and I think we can leave that topic there. But I think we'll head to your side of things. We'll go to the Southern Hemisphere to finish. And it's the magic round where players disappear. Of course, the Simbin, I think it was 16 Simbins and 3 Reds, was it? Or 14-2. It's one of the two of those, but too many, far too many. Talk about killing off your highlight games. You hire out a stadium, 3 days worth of games, and you're watching 12 on 13, and in some cases even 13 on 11 at one point. I think that was in the Dragons v Storm game where Fuimaono was sent for that high shot of Pappenhausen that unfortunately left him getting stretched off, which to me, in comparison to the Papali'i red card, is substantially more justified. The Papali'i one was contact with the head, okay. The arm was slightly tucked, but you could see he was trying to get it up over the top. You put it on report, you've been in for contact with the head. That's fine. Red, I don't think so.
The precedent was set on Friday. Sorry, with the Broncos game. With Tyson Gamble was put on report for 1 tackle in the first half, and then sent for another. You have. Now, we're not going to dispute the send-offs. The send-offs, and especially Fuimaono's, were send-offs every day of the week. And whether there's scrutiny or not, were send-offs and should have been send-offs prior to this precedent essentially being set. The other thing that you have to look at is that some of these sin bins were for professional fouls. They were not for these head-high shots. Now, it doesn't excuse, I think it was 14 sin bins and 3 send-offs. It was something like that.
Yeah.
But, some of the Moses Mbai was sent for 10 for a professional foul with 2 seconds on the clock. That's one that sticks out for me. There was another one in the first game with 30 seconds left, just laid on him, penalty, 10, professional foul.
Yeah.
Those ones are just, okay, yeah, whatever. And you did have the sin bins that were justified. Jordan Ricky led with the head butted another player, sin bin every day of the week, no worries. But it's the ones like the Tyson Gamble, the second Tyson Gamble tackle, sorry, It's the ones that. Oh, who was it? I can't remember who it was. That's how many there were. We're usually thinking one sin bin. Oh my god, what's going on? But there was one where initial impact was with the shoulder. It's rebounded and it was incidental contact, and the referee deemed it as such initially. He saw it bounced off the shoulder. Yes, it got him high, and okay, probably should have gone on report, but no sin bin was required, and the bunker overruled and said, "Nah, forceful direct to the head, go for 10."
I think that might have been in the Roosters game. I think it might have been the Tedesco shot where Tedesco's coming into contact. He's in his usual style of almost dropping to one knee before he steps. How do you tackle a player that drops to one knee before, like, incidental contact happens? It's a very real thing. Rugby league is a game where if you come to a game and you expect to leave the pitch without feeling a little bit of an ache or a pain somewhere, or you come to a pitch and you expect to maybe not catch a stray one around the chin, unfortunately, you're in the wrong spot. Like, it's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to hit above the neckline, above the shoulder line, sorry, but it happens. It happens all the time, and it's incidental contact. That's why we have a mitigation ruling of incidental contact. It's where first contact is made, and now it's if your hand is raised and you clip someone on the chin with a finger, that's a penalty. It's contact with the head. It's clear. It's deemed dangerous now. It's ridiculous. It's mental.
Yeah, I don't know. I just pulled up the Fox Sports article. They wrote something 8 hours ago and got their commentators to discuss every sin bin and every send off, and it's a lot. 14 sin bins and 3 send offs it was. So you can make you got a squad of 17 if you wanted to put it up. And I know a couple of folks did around the traps, but you go through a lot of these. Tex Hoy, Lockie Fitzgibbon, Moses Mbai, they were all professional fouls or repeated 6 agains. Okay, yeah, you could make an argument and say the game is now too fast because of the offside 6 again or ruck infringement 6 again, but that's a topic for another time. But I think it might have been Hodgson. No, not Hodgson, Maguire, who's now out for 5 weeks. That's the one I was thinking of. It's bounced off the chest and then gone up and hit the head, and the bunker interjected and said, nope, direct contact, gone for 10, and he's now gone for 5 weeks because of prior charges and loading and all of that. And again, you can go all around that. I don't know. It's just you could tell in the Broncos game that Gavin Badger, not Badger, Ash
Klein, sorry, yeah.
Klein he was looking for a reason to send someone off, and Gamble's second shot gave him the reason. Gamble only got fined. There's no week. He got fined. That's what we can't have 14 sin bins in a week, but half of them be fines for incidental contact. It's I can't swear. I don't want to swear, but you know what I'm thinking. It's a mind boggle. I'll go with a mind boggle. I can't say what I want to say.
Yeah, and this is what people need to understand as well, is this isn't a game going soft issue. This is a people going soft issue, because this is all, you'll see it in whatever sporting market you're in. Whatever America does, the rest of the world follows. So right now in the NFL, you've got tons of litigation cases of former players coming up with CTE, talking about how the fact that helmets are causing more damage, players with concussion leading to mental health and, decreased lifespans on players, which is fine. Like, I'm not saying that, oh, okay, you're a player, you sign up for that, and nobody signs up to have their life or their career shortened. Nobody does. But the problem that you've got is that the NRL is already preemptively preparing itself now for massive litigation cases where former players will now turn around and they will attribute memory loss, to concussion protocol. So now you've got so much around concussion protocol. You saw it with Tedesco. Tedesco, when he got hit, had to come to the sideline to then go back onto the pitch, because you're not supposed to be you're supposed to leave the pitch after a head knock and get a preliminary assessment. And that's all he did. He jogged off unassisted and jogged back, because that's what the protocols now dictate. And while ever people are threatening huge lawsuit and litigation cases against competitions like the NRL, like Super League, or like any rugby league system, rugby league's not a game that has money to throw at these cases. If the NFL gets sued for 125 million, they've still got another 6 figures in their bank account. They've still got 7 or 8 figures in their bank account. They're fine. They'll float. The NRL, however, they cop 125 million, shut the gates, close the stadiums, let the players go to union. Like, you don't got to you've no game anymore. The game cannot survive on that, and that is what the NRL are preemptively preparing for by putting so much in place. And they won't come out and make that stance public. They'll hide behind the guise of player welfare. We want player safety and all these things. It's not. It's a financial game. If it was player welfare, we'd have done it 30 years ago, because the game's not changed that much in 30 years. We've, shoulder charge is gone. 6 again's now in. Contact with the head is now an immediate sin bin with 15 minutes worth of protocol. It's just the NRL is just preemptively preparing for court cases. That's all it is.
Look, I don't mind some of what they're doing. I completely agree in the sense that they've got to look after player welfare, and it may be that they hide under the guise of it, but they can see what's going on in the NFL. They can see what is happening with rugby union. Why do you think rugby union have gone and said any contact with the head, incidental or not, is red? They're trying to look out for their players, and they don't want that in the game. It's the same with the AFL. Now, whether you agree or disagree to that, it's up to whoever is watching this to make their own opinion of it. My thing is that the game has gotten too quick, and as a result, we are seeing more and more. And it's not even intentional. Like, for the majority, they're not intentional. They're not trying to smack him around the chops. And I would hope that they're not trying to smack him around the chops. But, I'm looking at a lot of these charges from this week. Dane Gagai, dangerous contact with the head and neck, 70th minute. Lachlan Burr got fined for James Tedesco falling into his arm. I'm sorry, that's what it was. 64th minute, though. You could argue maybe it was a sloppy tackle. Tyson Gamble, 53rd minute. He had, big freaking second rollers charging at him all night. What can you do? 53rd minute. Dude's already knackered. Jordan Ricky, brain fade, but 53rd minute. Josh Papali'i, 61st minute. And, realistically, shoulder's gone with the head, but does that happen if the game's a bit slower? Josh Hodgson, 62nd minute. Sia Manafanai, 66th minute. I've already said Gagai in the 70th. Probably 2/3 of these charges have come from the we'll say 53rd minute onwards. What do you, what? It's coming down to the speed of the game. We're trying to change it to become more of of a spectacle. We're trying to change the speed of the game, make it more fast-flowing, make it more watchable. But it's getting to a point, and we can argue about it with these blowouts and quality of teams and all of that. The game is too quick. We're not the AFL. We're not back and forth over a 180-meter field. We're not just, we're not trying to make it just a spectacle. These are guys that, are playing for their careers each and every week. And if they're worn out after 55 minutes and they've still got, another half an hour or so to go, sloppy stuff is going to happen. Attackers, if they're on a Bankwest or, a Bankwest after a heavy round, or a Suncorp after 6 games before it, surprise, players are going to fall. They're going to slip because the ground is chopped up. If it is a wet game, players are going to slip, and what would have been a perfectly, great tackle any other day of the week is now going to be dangerous contact and 2 to 3 weeks on the sideline. Like, we've got to find that balance. There's got to be that balance, because if not, we posted it on Friday night. If that's the spectacle that it's going to look like from here on out, Parramatta Warriors game aside, we are going to lose a lot of fans in that 15-year worry that the game won't be around anymore that V'landys has, and research says they're right. It won't be, but it's not going to be because of head knocks. It's going to be the fans are going to be sick of it, and they'll go somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree, but like, if you look back at the most attended games, 103,000 Warrington, at Odsal, Warrington versus Halifax in the Challenge Cup final, 120,000 at the SCG, people sat up on top of the buildings. None of those games featured six again. None of those games saw set restarts or insane amounts of speed. It was all about the game itself. The game is now regressing, and it's not because of the speed. Some of the most watched games, some of the most attended sports have 0 to no speed element in them. The NFL is a 1-hour game that takes 4 hours to complete. Cricket is played over multiple days, but will still have average crowd sizes that vastly exceed rugby league. It is not about speed. The people who are here for speed will stay if the speed is there. The people who are there for the game, the people who are there for the technicality, the players, the love of the sport will stay regardless. But the problem that you've got now is that there's too much tampering and tweaking to the point where those people are now starting to question their loyalties to the game. You cannot lose that fan base. Do not cater to the fickle. Do not cater to the desire to make a game more exciting. The game will be more exciting if you allow it to flow in its natural rhythm where players are able to play at a comfortable speed.
If they can't do that, you look back at some of the most attended games this year, or we'll go back a decade. What was it? The biggest regular season crowd that we have had since the opening of ANZ Stadium 23 years ago now was the Easter Monday clash between Parramatta and the Tigers at ANZ that had 54,000. I think that was 2015, 2016. I think it was the first year that Para went 4-0 in 2 decades. The Tigers were 3-1, I think. We're not here, and that's when everyone was complaining the game is too slow. The game is too slow. Parramatta always fills out, or to an extent fills out Bank West, no matter who they're playing. Yeah, because they're having a decent season and they're having a good run for the first time in about 3 decades. But it's because of the experience. It's because you feel so close to the stadium at Bankwest. The Cowboys always at least have a half-full stadium, even when they're playing like absolute dog crap, because it's about the experience. The Cowboys aren't like any of the Sydney teams. Fans can't pick and choose where they're going to go. They have one team. They support that one team because they're only there every couple of weeks. The Broncos. Established fan base. They're for the experience because Suncorp has that slope. They're so close to the ground. They're always at least dragging in 20,000. Why do you think they get given Friday night games? Yeah, the advertising money's great, but there's the atmosphere to it as well. We're spending so much time changing these rules and trying to make the game faster again so we can bring in more TV ratings. And TV ratings are great because at the end of the day, it's the TV deals that pay for a lot of the sport. But players don't want to play in front of 4,000 people at ANZ. They don't want to play in front of 10,000 people at ANZ. They would rather play in front of 10,000 people at a Leichhardt or a Belmore. Dogs aren't packing out ANZ or Bankwest anytime soon. Take them to Belmore. Put them on the hill. I guarantee you they'll fill the hill out. There are more pressing issues that the NRL needs to focus on than changing directives, giving directives, and changing rules to make things quicker. The speed is too quick. Take it back to 2 years ago. Use the sin bin more. Fix the spectacle, not the game. The game doesn't need more hands in the pot.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I think we've got our points across there, but no, that just leaves us time to thank you for joining us again. If you've enjoyed, please let us know. And myself and Luke will be live over on the CKM page this time tomorrow. We'll just be wrapping up this time tomorrow, giving the NRL round 11 preview. But if you have enjoyed, let us know. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.